Hello, Hamilton Elite. I'm here with Coach Dino Raso from Georgian University men's soccer. Coach, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little about your school and your program.
Sure. Again, my name is Dino Raso, and I'm the head men's coach at Georgian University, which is located in Lakewood, New Jersey, about 20 minutes from the beach, and about 50 minutes from Atlantic City, Philadelphia, New York City. It's been I started the program, the men's program. It was an all-girls college, and then our first season was 2013. In 2016, we won the conference championship. In 2017 and 18, we've been ranked in the top 20 nationally. And last year, we lost in the conference finals after having probably one of the strongest Division II schedules in the nation. So it was an up and down year, but ended, disappointingly, but well. And so now I have a hungry group ready for 2020.
Okay. How about a little bit about the school itself academically?
Sure. A lot of my players come for criminal justice. We have a very, very good program in criminal justice. It's every player that I've graduated now has a job in the, let's call it the police or FBI field. And I've only had graduates probably for the last 4 or 5 years. So it's happening within a year that they're becoming state troopers somewhere or something. And they're scoring very highly on their civil exams as well. We have 2 of our players from a year ago and 2 years ago scored higher than anyone else. So we're doing very well in the criminal justice area. It was developed by the head of hostage negotiations in New York City. And again, it's just a very strong program. Our psychological department is fantastic as well. It is the only program that we have a doctorate in. And so we have 5+1 or 4+1 master's programs in that. The school itself over time has been very well known for its education department. I've had plenty of feedback. There's plenty of coaches, high school coaches that have a master's degree from Georgian University, even before it became a men's college or a co-ed college. So again, we offer accelerated programs in education. When you come out of a degree with our educational programs, you will not only get a degree in education, but you get a degree in whatever other, topic. For example, you're coming out as a history major and a teacher, and you get a special education certificate, which in most cases could take another year somewhere else. So you're getting that all rolled up into one 4-year program. And then again, our business program is amazing. We have our provost is one of the 50 top leading women in Ocean and Monmouth County in terms of business. So we're very well connected with our chambers of commerce. We have internships as a requirement. People are getting their internships anywhere from, like I said, Philadelphia to New York to our area, or back in their hometowns. So we're very flexible that way. And that's just to name a few. Our chemical and biology department is excellent. I have our nursing department has a cutoff, actually. So we turn away people in our nursing department. Very difficult to get into. So that's a little bit about some of the programs at the school.
All right, thank you. Back on to soccer related. Can you tell us a little bit about your coaching style?
Sure. That's always been a very difficult question for me because I hope that I've adapted over time. And I think at my heart, I want to make sure that the defense is very controlled and tight. I played as a center back till I was about 15 years old. And then I moved to the midfield and eventually forward. So you'll find, at least on our team, and in many of the youth teams that I coach, we are very attack-minded. So even though I like to shore up the back, I give plenty of freedom to the forwards, the midfield, and a lot of our systems are designed for us to be constantly confusing the other team and constant attack. So again, if you go back to our website and you check out our statistics over the years, you'll see that we have plenty of years with very low goals against averages with very high goals for. And we very rarely get ties. So in the 8 years that I've been there, I don't know that we've even lost an overtime game. If I did, it's a handful, less than 5. We mostly win our overtime games. We're very aggressive in terms of trying to win and wanting to score goals, but just making sure that we're very conscious of our defense. I also believe, and I've been told that I'm a player coach. I can't tell you how many chances we give our players to have an opportunity. That was not provided to me as a college player. I always felt that, I should have been given a better shot at certain times. And I make sure that I don't let that happen to my players. As a result, we have a development squad as well. So I carry as many as 60 players with 2 separate schedules, a development schedule and a varsity schedule. And my retention, or I should say GCU's retention in soccer over the last 4 years has been over 90%, which if you do the math, 22 players can play at a time. I have 60 on a roster. They got to be sticking around for something other than just playing time. They're sticking around because we are fair to them. We do give them the chance to develop. We do move players up and down. And I think having that light at the end of the tunnel and consistently showing that we're not afraid to move someone from development to varsity, even in mid-season. And some of them go from starting on the development squad to starting on the top team. It has led to very high development rates for our players, plus very high retention rates.
That's good stuff. So you mentioned you carry 60 players, which is a lot, but I like the fact that you do have a reserve team, I guess you can call it. In the reserve team, do you play like junior colleges? What, can you explain?
We have a varied schedule, actually. There's a number of D3 teams like Drew and Lancaster College that will play us. But we also play all the top community colleges. So teams that are nationally ranked, Monroe College, #1 in the nation. We play them twice per year. We've even fiddled around with the idea of having a final tournament because Monroe College has 3 different campuses and they all want to try to play us. Local teams like Brookdale, you've got OCC, they're always in the, Region 19 conference finals, things like that. So we're playing all the top teams in the area, teams that your players would have heard of. And we try to vary it around because we play as many as 10 games with that schedule. And again, it goes right into October. So every player is allowed to play 18. So even if you're playing a full 10-game schedule with the development squad, you still can play 8 more games with the main team. And with the fact that we have players that are playing in competitive environments right up until October, it's very easy for us to transition a player who's on fire into our main squad and get ready for playoffs, confident that he's had experience. When you look at a normal team, there's a program we were talking about today that has 32 players on the roster. Once you get 10 games in, those bottom 10 guys, I don't even know if they're going to get in a game. Once you get 10, 12 games into a season, it's just very difficult to throw them in unless it's some kind of blowout. So the development kind of stops. Whereas our teams, we practice right up until, the last day we can practice. There's a lot of mixed practices. It's not always separated. There's a thing called swing player as well, where you'll play an hour with one team and then transition for an hour practice with the other group. So you're not going over any NCAA, violation hours, but you're getting training with both teams. So you're constantly put in a position of extra development. And this is proven excellent for freshmen because they're just playing more. As a freshman, I played in 5 games and I could tell you 2 of them were blowouts. And I don't know that any of them were more than 20 minutes. Now, granted, I was on a D1 top 20 in the nation team at the time back in the day, but that's typical. For us, on the other hand, you might get into one of our games for 5-10 minutes as a varsity player, but you're playing 10 games, 70 minutes, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, and you're getting that experience and you're developing and you're ready.
Good stuff. So I'm assuming one of our questions that we ask is how many freshmen do you typically take in per year? So I'm gonna assume it's probably larger than the normal college
Hmm.
because you have that reserve team.
Yeah, this year we're shooting for 20. I think we had 20 last year. Um, and so, we're graduating, I think 16. Um, so we are upping our roster a little bit this year. I think last year we were at 55. This year we're gunning for 60. But yeah, usually we bring in about 20 players.
Okay. Um, so obviously with COVID-19, this has been a difficult year recruiting. What have you guys been doing anything differently than you have in the past? Can you give us a little insight of what you guys have been doing at Georgian Court?
Yeah, one of the things that's different is we're doing many more WhatsApp calls with New Jersey players. So in the past, we've kind of reserved those WhatsApp calls for international students, and obviously we would bring a New Jersey player to our campus so they can see the campus for themselves. But without us being able to do that now, we're having more of these WhatsApp or video chats or these Zoom calls, if you want to call it, which is one thing that's completely different. The second thing is when someone has decided that we are top two and they're likely to commit to us, I am able to still go to campus. So I can do a virtual tour with them, again, using one of these phone apps for video, which provides a nice touch. We try to do a little bit more conversation. Players that are committed, we can send them our practices now instead of waiting till May for them to train through the summer, or they can start training now in a way that our players are training, which allows them to, stay even and not come in as freshmen. At the same time, email use is huge. Any player that has written to us, we're responding back as quickly as we can, and we're just trying to keep them engaged, having conversations, trying to answer as many questions as they might have. And again, if it gets very complicated, then again, we're asking them to do a video call with us. But there are some players who are hoping and waiting for seasons to start in the summer or tournaments to be in June or July, and we're going to make every effort to try and get to those.
Good stuff. Um, what advice would you give to juniors and seniors and maybe even sophomores, class of 2022, during these unprecedented times?
The biggest thing is continue with your schooling. And I know that's maybe not what they want to hear, but the reality is many more opportunities open up if your grades are higher. And again, we are fully recognizing that some kids are 2.4 students or 2.5 students, and that's the way they are. But they can make it 2.6, they can make it 2.7, they can increase. And that little bit of increase does wonders in terms of scholarship money. It does wonders in terms of opportunities and other schools and programs you can get into. There's so much up in the air with the SAT now. I know at Georgian Court, we're accepting students based solely on GPA. So again, do everything in your power to stay in school. It's going to seem maybe a little bit difficult at times because you're not being taught the same way and you have to do a little bit more on your own. But we're telling our players to have a set schedule, try to get up every day at the same time, do their schooling at the same time, do their homework at the same time, try to get into some kind of rhythm. And then you're throwing your activities throughout the day with that, and make sure you stay mentally healthy. But schooling is going to be the most important thing right now. The second piece is there are so many things online. Adidas has it. New York Red Bulls have it. Just random people, personal trainers, people that do this for a living and they're bored and they've decided to put free things online, daily challenges, weekly challenges. They need to do those things. They need to incorporate soccer or fitness into their daily routine. It can't just be playing FIFA and going to sleep and doing their school. They need to stay fit, because the teams that come out of this, and every indication shows us we're going to have some kind of a league this summer. The teams that have stayed fit and have stayed mentally healthy are the ones that are going to jump out onto the field and get going right away. The teams that have players that are just squandering this opportunity to train at home and and stay on top of things and learn new things are the ones that are going to fall by the wayside. And it's going to be a shortened window. So if you want to try and do any videoing, if you want to do any kind of getting coaches to come watch you play, your team has to be performing right off the bat. So stay vigilant. Continue to write us emails. We're not dismissing anything for the 2021s and the 2022s. You guys keep sending us emails. Let us know when you're going to have tournaments. We're very confident that things are going to get back to some kind of normalcy where we're going to be able to watch you. But staying in touch with us via email until that happens is a great way to learn about the school.
That's great advice, Coach. Sticking with recruiting, what are some of the things you look for and intrigue you about recruits, and what are some of the things that kind of turn you off or dissuade you from that recruit?
Yeah, that's always a fun question. The simplest one is when you guys are doing emails, make sure it's my name, make sure it's my school, and make sure we have that program. So, for example, we do not have engineering, and I'll get an email that's standard. Coaches are very, very understanding that players are writing form letters, but if you don't take the time to change my name and you put some other, coach in my conference's name, that kind of tells me you're not paying attention. So please make sure you're changing those spots that need to be changed. And don't send an email with a group. Don't put my whole conference coaches on my email to Coach Dino. Make sure it's only addressed to me. Take that extra minute to send a separate email to me. The second thing is when you're out there playing, a lot of things that coaches talk about is the attitude of the player. Right now, it's very difficult to find leaders. So many players are playing in showcase games, and sometimes there's no real drive or oomph into the game because you're just trying to play and you're not really there's not something separate the way it used to be where you just played every once in a while or you played a tournament that always had a championship game. So it's difficult to find those guys that are encouraging their teammates, taking a step up and saying, look, we're down a goal or we're up a goal. Let's shore it up. Finding those players that are communicating either with body language or just words of encouragement is huge. On the flip side, coaches always joke about the fact that, look, this guy, he got into it with the referee and it was unnecessary, or he's berating his teammates, but he's making mistakes himself. You have to be very wary of what you're saying because a lot of times at these college showcases, coaches have 10 to 20 minutes at your game, and they could just be walking by deciding, should I stay? And if they hear, or if they watch fighting, or if they watch bad tackling, or if they watch, yelling back at the referee, they'll just move on. They'll just move on. And if they're there looking for you and you're doing those things, getting stupid yellows, dumb reds, things like that, and they watch it happen, again, a lot of coaches will just immediately strike you off the list because they don't know you and they don't know why it happened. So when you're at these tournaments, be very mindful of that. As far as the Georgian court player is concerned, we are still gritty. So I have a lot of talent on the ball, but ultimately we play in the Northeast, and the Northeast is a tough league, and you need to be able to hit. You need to be able to play while being hit. So you need a little bit of tenacity and grit. Our speed of play is very high, so we look for players that are workhorses, that are constantly moving, constantly in motion, doing the right things, not getting themselves caught off. If they're defenders, we want to make sure you're just consistent and you're not going to let anyone get past you on a set piece, for example. You're going to have the strength to fight that kind of stuff off. If you're in the midfield, switching the play, finding players, not dribbling more than you should. If you're on the wing, again, being able to understand a 1v1, going after them, going past them, getting the ball to other players, and scoring. Figuring out how to get into the play, as well as tracking back on defense. And then then we're talking about forwards. Again, forwards is very simple. You have to either help people score goals or you have to score them yourself. You need to look dangerous. So if you're doing those things in those respective positions, you're going to catch our eye. Height, size, that stuff doesn't really matter. I'm a short player. One of my assistants is short. If you look at our back three, all of them are above 6 feet. But then we have, midfielders that are 5'6". It is, if you can play, you can play. But we're looking for grit, determination, hard work.
Sounds good. Sounds like good stuff. One final question. Your school's a little different that we've been accustomed to interviewing in the last few days as being D2. Could you tell us a little bit about your, once a recruit and you guys come to an understanding and they want to sign and jump on and be part of the Georgian court soccer, can you tell us a little bit about what that process is like right at that point on?
Okay. If you may or may not know, Division II means that we do have up to 9 scholarships per team. And if a school is fully funded, that's what you can do. We are fully funded, but obviously our money is shared throughout the team. And we are allowed to stack that on top of academics or other scholarships, which makes us, a very good option for a lot of people. If you're a New Jersey player as well, this also opens up, federal aid, state aid. So it can be a very cheap undertaking for a lot of New Jersey players. Once they decide they're going to commit, then we do what we call a press. Well, first of all, we have them sign a contract, whether it's a walk-on contract or an NLI. They're signing a contract to be on our roster. It's a privilege and it's an honor, and we want them to be a part of the team. Then they'll get an email from our sports information player guy who will ask them information for us to use on media releases. So if they have a resume, if they have any kind of accolades that they can share, any interests, any photos, those are the things that are going to be displayed in our social media and our website. You will need to make sure you're taking care of everything through the NCAA Eligibility Center, because Division III does not have that. Division II and Division I, you must pay, I think it's a $75 fee, and you must register with the Eligibility Center. That will require you to send them transcripts, SAT scores, and amateurism questions, which will then mean you have to be cleared by them in order to participate. You're going to need 16 core courses. All of that is on their website. You can get all this information, and you're welcome to ask me if you're in conversations with me or any coach, really. Then we will give you a package, usually in May. I referred to it before. We're allowed to do that now. But normally this package comes in May when school is out, and it is your treatment for training through the summer. Once that treatment comes, then we usually report around August 16th, which again, if you're going to a junior college, that might be August 1st. For us, it's usually the middle of the month, and we'll have preseason, 2-3 practices a day until school starts. And then it's 1 a day until we start playing games. So that's kind of how it works. We will stay in contact with you through email. We will send you medical information that you need to complete. Georgian Court happens to do physicals on site. We bring in doctors for it. Other schools will require you to do a physical with your primary care physician and then, fill out their paperwork. But it's relatively easy process once you're in and once you've decided to come here.
Good stuff, Coach. Hey, it's about all we have for today. I appreciate you dropping in and doing this interview for Hamilton Elite's players. We look forward to any questions you might have at this time or about Hamilton Elite, or and we'll also forward any prospective athletes your way as well.
Yeah, listen, I'm just honored that you guys asked. I'm willing to help in any way I can with any of the clubs in New Jersey. So feel free to use me as a resource. I've helped many players go on even when they're not wanting to come to Georgian Court. So there are a lot of players out there who don't have people to help them. I was one of those people, coming from immigrant parents who didn't really speak English great. They'd never been to college. They didn't understand the process at all. So I'm here to help anyone who wants help. So they can easily write to me. I want to be as engaged with Hamilton Elite as we can. So if you know of tournaments for these age groups, just be aware that the ones that are sophomores, we can't really speak soccer until July 15th. Once that happens, then you'll start getting recruiting information. Prior to that, they can tell us, hey, I've got a tournament, but my response is going to be, thank you. Did you fill out our questionnaire? Would you like to come to one of our camps or clinics? That's about all I can do until that July date. But, you know, the 2003s, 2002s, now, you know, we'd love to know their schedules. We'd love to be able to come out and watch any tournaments they're in and try and stay as engaged as we can. So I appreciate this.
Thanks a lot, Coach.